You are incredibly capable of doing nothing. Nothing is the natural state, after all. Like, look around you. Do you see all that empty air? Like, really, that's nothing if you think about it. Most of everything that exists, if you look out into space, you know how, like, empty that is. Most of everything is nothing. Like, nothing is the natural state of everything. And most people amount to what is known as nothing. Not that many people start successful businesses that change the world. Not that many people lead nations or countries and change political borders and landscapes and the balance of power. Not that many people are able to create a true influence on the internet. Not that many people define the future or do something in their lives that just changes the course of human history. But is that the point? Is the point to not become nothing in the lens of history? This is something I've warred with, of course, because you hear these stories of all these people who are real influence makers, people making change. If you ever listen to the podcast How to Take Over the World, you start to see yourself as maybe I could be one of these people, and the chances are pretty slim that you'll end up one of those people. So where do you find your meaning beyond becoming one of those people? Because that's not the real meaning. Cannot be how do I change human history for eons to come, or else most people would be meaningless. So there has to be other meaning. So we're going to look at a letter from Paul to the Thessalonian church. Now, disclaimer, I'm realizing now that I did not, in fact, read this letter to talk about it. I saw it on an Instagram post that I read today, and essentially what it said is that the goal of meaning is not to performatively be someone who is seen doing something for the sake of being seen doing something, or to do something big plant a church, lead a ministry, simply for the sake of having been the person to do that in hopes that it might get you a spiritual reward in the future. Because that is not the point. It is you doing a good deed is not about you doing said good deed. Impacting the life of another in your church or just anywhere that you find. Because everyone was made in the image of God, we are the hands and feet of God. Impacting one is impacting God. If you look at Matthew 25, when did we see you when we clothed you? When did we see you when you were sick and we healed you? Things along that line. You saw me in the least of these who are my family. Then there's a second interpretation of this idea that you are incredibly capable of doing nothing. A few months back, I was at Disney with a school trip, which meant that for a good amount of that week, I was just waiting in lines to get on the rides, to be able to have the actual time that we spent however much money to go on the trip for, and spending 6 hours of your day just kind of slogging through a line. You get pretty bored of the stuff that you do to spend time. We would play Wavelength, I think it's Imposter on your phone, telephone. Just end up scrolling reels for an hour in the same line, and those things get incredibly boring quick. And then you look around, and there's a lot of people just standing there, doing nothing, just taking it all in. When everything else is super boring, you are incredibly capable of just accepting that you're just going to do nothing. And doing nothing actually has a lot of benefits. I don't know if you've seen, but the idea of just staring at a wall for however long a day, doing nothing but staring at a wall, over the course of a week or so, that is then able to fix your focus. This isn't something I've personally tried, but I've heard of other people who have done it. Then in the productivity industry, the self-help, doing nothing but the thing that you are supposed to be doing in order to better yourself. That's how you win, by being just the one thing and nothing else. And one is pretty close to zero. One thing is pretty close to nothing. So nothing but that one thing is essentially just nothing. And that's how you win. So accept that you are incredibly capable of doing nothing and use that to your advantage. Thank you.